Hello, my name is Alun, and my pronouns are he, him. I just realized I need to rename my little window to say he, him. This is a session organized as part of the Open Hearth gaming community's online calendar. If you don't know about Open Hearth, please do join us. I'm not going to say much more at this point because I'll invite you to go back to session 1 and get the full spiel. But I will stress that we are playing using the Open Hearth gaming community's code of conduct, which we think is very strong. And we're also playing with a set of safety tools. All 3 players got used to these safety tools last time, so I'm not going to go through them. But I will say to the players, if you want to add anything to the lines and veils we're playing with, feel free to go ahead. And I'll remind you have the X card in play as well. I don't think there's anything else I want to say about this. You want to know where we are and what we're doing, go back to the first session and see the pitch or hear the pitch. But I think I will ask the players to just say hello and introduce us to their characters very briefly, and maybe tell us something from last time if they want to. And if they can remember, because if they've been playing a lot of games in the last week, they may well not remember what happened last time. So that's fine. So let me start. Let me do it in the order I can see you. So Pavel, say hello and then tell us something about Isolde or something that happened last week or whatever.
Hello, I'm Pavel. I play Isolde. Isolde. He is the storyteller. He is middle-aged, clean-shaven. He's carrying his backpack as well as head full of awesome stories. And last time we have seen him utilize said bagpipes to play some funeral music to scare off the shady things that were attacking the village of Tarham, where we are.
Thank you very much. Let me go next to Dom. Dom, say hello and tell us something about Cola or something that happened last time.
Yeah, hello, my name is Dom, and I'm playing Cola, the hunter who's maybe the oldest in the group, very much an old man. And in the last session, we saw him basically trying to light the people up. And then, after Isolde's great performance with the bagpipes, chase the monster or whatever dark creature we're facing into the forest, only to have himself being flung back into relative safety.
And at that point, I think there was a general agreement that perhaps we shouldn't chase whatever it is into the dark. And finally, Dominic, say hello and tell us something about Gwilog and or something that from last time.
Yeah, Gwilog is a unsuccessful warrior who lost a battle and is the only survivor. Although the survivor part is a bit questionable. And last time he proved himself to be a surprisingly good healer in case of plague or whatever was ailing this town.
Yeah, and I mean, I think you've come up with an even better picture for him. And I suppose our audience needs to understand that he is a revenant. He's dead. He just doesn't know that. But I have to say, as I look at that picture, people are going to start having suspicions, I think, because that is not a well man.
No, and it's a very modern turtleneck sweater he's wearing.
Well, I wasn't noticing that bit, I'll be honest with you. So let me update mine to show he, him, and then we're ready to go. Okay, so I think we left it last time as you having decided not to pursue whatever it was into the darkness, but instead to retire to the Great Hall, where most people in the village, I think, ended up spending the night out of a sense of safety. And I think that perhaps we will open just before dawn, just before most people are stirring. When Gwilog, you wake and you can hear someone weeping. Mm-hmm. What do you do?
I get up and see who that might be.
It's coming from kind of behind. There's some bales of maybe the sheep's wool or something in the corner that the village has been storing here, and it's coming from behind there.
With all the ghostly shenanigans that have been going on, of course, I'm I'm a bit careful. I don't want to be attacked by a ghost, but I will approach the bale and make sure that my steps are not too quiet, that whoever is behind the bale can hear me come.
Fine. Well, I'm not going to make you roll for making some noise. So yeah, I think you get to the bale, and I think I can tell you for nothing that it's the sound of a woman crying.
I kneel down and I say, "Who are you?"
And she's clearly very frightened, very on edge, very nervous, and she kind of cowers away from you when you kind of come around the side of this bale of wool.
Have no fear. My name is Gwilok. Who are you? And is there anything I can do to help you?
My name's Yadu. I'm just so frightened by this. It's just terrible. Everything's last night, those shadow things. What's going on? We're all going to die.
Yes, it is very frightening. I concur. Now, speaking very, very high register, let me rephrase that. It is very frightening. Yes, yes. I'm scared to my bones too. But I'm sure we can survive it, whatever it is, if we stick together.
But how? I mean, they came out of nowhere. Shadows. There are shadows here.
I know. They are so scary. I know.
Are you really scared? Are you really frightened?
Yes, I am. I am, but it's not like we have a choice. They are quicker
we could
than
run
us.
away.
They would catch us.
Do you think that they're after us? They're going to they pursue us? We could all just leave. We could just leave. We could just leave the village. They just want the village.
I think this is a point where I would like to do some sort of check on some of my, I think, either on sense or on steel or on soul or on subtle. No, I think sense would be fitting, because she is saying that like she makes an awful lot of sense to Gulok, and he tries to see whether his immediate instincts win or if he has a sense of bravery, and therefore if I roll good, his bravery prevails. Let's see.
Okay, let's have you
that
roll.
Is a 12. So,
okay.
So
fine.
He's just
he's fine. He's fine.
Yeah. He said, no, we cannot leave. All these people need us. And I know it's very scary. And I know you, and you know, it's this thing where he's more talking to himself than to her. But I know you've probably lost things to your giving into fear. And I know that you probably have people who relied on you and who you betrayed because you were afraid. This is the time where we can make up for it. I beg you, stay with us.
No one would miss me. All I do is look after the cows.
Well, the cows would miss you.
And I think that gets a grin out of her. And I'm going to treat that 12 as convince them.
Okay.
Yeah. On a 10 plus, she just calmed down. I think she actually smiles a bit at the joke that the cows would miss her. And that seems to kind of really buoy her up.
That's nice.
So I think that you can be certain that she's not going to run away. Or maybe she's going to watch you and see what you do. But on 10 plus, pick one. Say how what they do gains you advantage. I can't see that working, to be honest. So I'm then seeing they're impressed enough to owe you a debt. Yeah. So if you go down to the debt section of the character keeper, and there's a little block that says settlement or faction or something. If you write Tarham in there, if it's not already in there, and there's a drop down which will allow you to allocate, they owe you one debt.
There is a Tarham section.
Oh, is there already? Fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. One of us thought ahead.
The one where we have the settlement and the village and all that.
That's right.
And insights.
Oh no, sorry, not the Tarham tab. It's on your character keeper, all the way
mine.
down on row 66.
Okay, let me
And
see.
there is Tarham. One of us had a bit of foresight. Settlement or faction, they owe you, and then you can.
Okay. And who owes me Tarham?
Well,
Or
someone in
her.
the village. She does, but we
Okay.
don't deal with the individual.
Okay.
You know, you can spend that to have somebody from the village because the word gets out.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I put in +1?
Yeah.
Okay.
Great. And I'm going to close that scene unless you tell me not to.
No, that was wonderful. Let's press on.
Isolde, Cola. I'm going to go to Cola first because I have a suspicion that Cola is used to rising early. You know, spends a lot of time in the outdoors as a hunter. What do you do when you get when you wake, Cola?
Cola probably wake up quite early. I'm not sure when this is, but Cola will probably wake up around, I would say, maybe 5 in the morning most days.
Mm-hmm.
And as he does, so he's going to just kind of like, in this situation, do like a quick head count, like on the people in the Great Hall, make sure that there's no one missing.
Yeah, no,
And
I
after
think
that-
everything is fine.
And after that, he's probably going to go outside and like just go to the well or the perhaps there's like a river nearby to like just get some fresh water and just kind of like refresh himself in the morning.
Fine.
And as he does so, he's probably also going to just call his beast, because I know that that's what Paul wanted. He's going to call I believe it was a hawk or an eagle that we settled on last time. He's going to call it, give it like a few like head scratches, and then he's probably going to like show his hand towards the dome and the dunes, and he's going to like, send it off to scout ahead and see what it can find in the dunes.
Okay. So let's check out that move. I think this is the first one we've kind of used it out. So say what it is and agree with, so we know it's a hawk. When you seek to benefit from the advantage, in this case, to look about you, owe your gods a debt and remind us of something of the history the two of you share. So tell us something about the history the two of you share.
Now, the two of you, in this case, does that mean Kola and the patron, or Kola and the beast?
Kola and the hawk. Because you have a connection, and I'm about to ask you how you know what it sees.
I think maybe what would had happened is that in the past, the hawk got trapped in possibly in another ruins. It got kind of like trapped, maybe like a stone dislodged and fell on its wing, pinning it down. And Kola like found it upon seeking a shelter of them for the night. Found the hawk, took out the stone, and took care of it for possibly like the couple of weeks, months for the wing to heal. And afterwards, the hawk just kept following Koda around and giving him like little trinkets of what it found along its way.
I like that. Let's have you roll to look about you with advantage. So, but before we do that, before we see what happens, we've got a bit of special effects budget. How does the connection between you and the hawk work? You know, does it make calls when it's in the air, and then you can interpret that? Or is this an example where we suddenly see the point of view of the hawk? What do you want? Or something else?
I was thinking more along the lines of the hawk would bring Kola like little trinkets of what's up ahead, or
Okay.
in a location of interest. So, if, for example, in this, what I try to do is like Kola specified the alert, so the hawk is going to go there, try to find something of note, bring it back, if there's nothing of note, nothing interesting there, nothing that Cola should be worried about, it's not going to come up with anything. But in a situation like where Cola is not really specifying any location, the hack could just go somewhere. And if it finds something interesting, to take that interesting thing, bring it to Cola, and then probably just kind of like try to nudge Cola to the direction, like, and how to follow it.
Fine, fine. So let's have you roll 3d6, take the top 2, and add sense. Oh, look at that. Okay, so the top 2 would be a 5 and a 6. That's 11 plus sense. I don't know what your sense is.
My sense is 1, so that's maybe a 12.
Okay, if only there was more to this than a 10 plus. So on a 10 plus, I will reveal something about the situation, tell you something relevant. Okay, I think that what it brings back is a fragment of burned wood, because I think we know that there was a watchtower of some kind that was burned down during the attack. But also, it brings you back a coin. And it's a coin, it's a Roman coin. Yeah?
Okay, that's good for now.
Yeah. So it brings you back a Roman coin. I think I'm prepared to ask you whether you want to phrase, describe an insight based on this. Is this sufficiently significant that you want to call it an insight?
I kind of want to bring this back to the whole group.
Mm-hmm.
Do we think the coin could indicate something in this case or not? Because my first thought was that perhaps this coin was part of like some dominant treasury that's kind of like supposed to be like locked somewhere. But
Go on.
yeah, out of this without also painting myself in a corner.
I think if this was going to be an insight, I think the only thing you could tell now is that there is some Roman connection to that location. If that's a good enough insight, I think that's all the coin is going to tell you, unless you've got a better bet. What do you think?
I'm trying to figure out how to paint something in this case that's just vague enough to give us a leeway without just being specific.
Yeah.
So perhaps
maybe just call it's the Romans.
Maybe it's just the Romans. ... Yeah.
Yeah, probably just the Romans. That should be vague enough.
Absolutely. Oh, don't know why that happened. Hang on a second. Sorry, I've done something stupid on the keeper. Sometimes I think I overcomplicate my keepers. Forgive me. So that is Cola. There we go. Okay, so we have the Romans. Now, were you to seek a revelation at this point, you would be rolling with +1 if you can connect all 4 of those insights together. But alternatively, you talked about visiting one of the locations. Isolde, which of these 2 locations, nearby locations, because each one of them potentially could present an insight. So I'm curious, Isolde, is there one of them that you're interested in visiting before the other?
I think before Isolde can do anything about this, let's use this cool opportunity of raise a debt we owe to your patron. Yeah, why not? Let's trigger some entanglements.
Okay. I like that. Thank you. Well, reduce the debt on your character sheet, and I will look at entanglements, and I am going to introduce an entanglement from the wider world.
Mm-hmm.
which faction moves against the locals? How? What do they do? I think that as people are leaving the hall, there is the sound of horses' hooves, and a group of warriors charge into the village. That was you offered me that opportunity to complicate life, Pavel. So I'll ask Isolde first. What does he do when he sees them?
I'm trying to imagine the situation he was in to see that. So yeah, I think he was just getting back from the river from washing himself this morning. So he's still standing there, probably just next to the house that was just like given to us to sleep there.
Well, you were all in the Lord's Hall because for
okay.
safety in numbers.
Okay, yeah. So I'm probably like coming back from the river when I see them. Do they like charge in and start attacking people? Do they just like charge in and start doing what?
I'm going to tell you for nothing that it appears to me they have aggressive intent. Because I think if you've gone down to the river, I think it'd be a nice cinematic moment if, as you're walking away from the river, out of the underbrush on the other side of the river comes a line of a handful of mounted warriors, and they charge into the river and out the other side. And one of them is bearing down on you, and the others pass you, and the villagers scatter. This is a threat, undoubtedly. What do you do, Isolde? There is one of them bearing down on you.
Well, Isolde luckily has his trusted, I think as staff. So Isolde being mildly scared of being charged upon by mounted combatant.
Yeah.
Just like he like starts to run, but mostly to like get, maybe there are some rocks between river and the village, and he wants like
there's buildings, there are huts, and there are pig pens, and so there's lots of obstacles. So pick an obstacle that's kind of village related.
Yeah, I think the stalls that are just next to the entrance to the village, where in good times people can put their goods on, so that the people visiting can just like grab some. And I think Isolde is using this like empty now stand as a barrier between him and the raider, so that the raider has to like kind of stop, and then he like goes around it, and using his longer staff, he just like want to like bash the raider to like fall down from the horse.
I think there's two things going on here. First, there is do you get there before he gets to you? And then we'll deal with you confronting him with the staff. So let's have you face a challenge. This sounds like a physical challenge to me. So this is roll plus steal.
Roll plus steal -1.
If you can find a way to involve one of the villagers, you could roll with advantage.
That's
because you have 5. A debt, I think. Oh, that's 5. Okay, so that didn't go terribly well. So he's going to bear down on you before you get to that position of advantage. And I think he bears down on you, and the horse buffets you to one side for 1 point of harm. So mark 1 harm. And yeah, I think that's where we'll cut from you and back to you in a moment. Gwilog and Cola, you're both outside in the village. Everyone's gone out into the village, and suddenly from the stream side of the village, where a number of people had gone to get water, I mean, Cola was there a moment ago, you see these riders charge into the village, and one villager is struck down, so it's obvious that this is an attack on the village. I'm going to come to Gwilog last, because you've described yourself as cowardly, so I'm going to leave it at that for a moment. Cola, what do you do?
Cola is going to probably like get upon an elevated position. He has like a view of the village, and he's going to take out his bow, aim it at the probably nearest raider, and just like take a shot.
Okay, okay. Do you want to shoot at the horse or do you want to shoot at the rider? Because the rider has a round shield and a spear. So they've got a bit of cover. Whereas the
Right.
horse, the only defense the horse has is it's a moving target.
Yeah, I think Koala in this case would probably aim like at the horse, the bigger target, and like try and like either how to say this? Either just like cripple its speed by maybe like shooting it in the leg, or perhaps maybe even like just evoking enough stress to the horse that it just like loses control, buckles off the raider and just runs off somewhere.
Okay, okay. Let's have you roll to confront then. So I think this is a physical, this is about accuracy. Oh, I mean, no, I'll give you sense if you want to. You can have sense or steel, take your pick. Because sense is, you know, picking your target very carefully. Steel is just the, you know, the agility of taking this shot quickly. Which do you want, steel or sense?
I do have a +2 in steel, but I think in this situation, because I'm like trying to hit a moving target, it might be sense might make more sense.
Okay, so roll plus sense, which I think is 1, isn't it for you?
Yep,
2d6 plus 1.
it should be, well, it's a 10.
Look at that. So on a 10 plus. So on 7 plus, you slow it down. The horse kind of skews round, screeches to a stop if it was a motor car, but it picks one or it picks one. I think I'm going to just have the warrior dismount safely. Yeah, it's not quite flee, but it's close to. So, and take cover, flee to cover. But on 10 plus, you also say how you force them to where they're disadvantaged. You were too far away to get any harm from them, or impress an observer enough for them to owe you a debt. Do you want a debt or do you want them at disadvantage?
In this case, I think maybe like having them at disadvantage would be better. Like I'm thinking like maybe they didn't expect ranged. Like maybe they the raiders thought that there's only like melee weapons, like melee warriors in this town, and didn't expect someone who has like a bow and arrow to be here. So perhaps he it's probably maybe like just like busts the door down and just like retreats into like a nearby hut, a house, because he probably maybe doesn't know where the core is.
Yeah, no, that's fine. In fact, I'm going to have him not get as far as the hut. I'm going to have him take cover. He thinks he's safe, but you and I know he isn't. That's where he's going to be disadvantaged. Gwilog, chaos out there. And Iadu, the cowardly herder, has stayed close to you. So wherever you are, she is. Where are you?
I was just thinking maybe I would like to queer the notion of him being cowardly, in that he is just not a good fighter and he's very scared of fighting after what happened to him.
Okay.
So I think what he will do is that he will look where he can actually help. Is there anybody he can bring to safety? Anybody he can like passively protect, so to speak?
I think that's going to be hard because what you've got now is 4 mounted warriors and one on foot, and they have scattered. And they're pursuing villagers, and the villagers are just running everywhere. So there's no you're going to have to get out there if you want to protect one of them and put yourself between one of the raiders and a villager.
Because I'm also thinking that he has that strength of 10 dead men, a power that he obviously doesn't know about. But maybe we could put that in, that he's trying to like protect somebody, and while he's doing that, you know, he's forced to, I don't know, stop the oncoming horse with his bare hands or something like that.
That works for me. So in an effort to save somebody, you're going to end up being charged down by this mounted warrior. But let's have you roll to confront them.
Sure.
With steel, I think, because you get to roll with soul instead of steel, in fact, don't you? So let's have you roll with soul.
Okay, that's +2. And roll. 10.
10. Wow.
Oh, no, wait. That's 10. I looked at the wrong spot, but it's still 10.
Okay, so on a 10, this goes all very well. So again, I mean, how do you want to render this warrior in a heap on the ground?
Okay, so again, let me talk myself there. What I'm imagining is that he is not out for a fight. He's trying to avoid fights, and maybe there is some, some person, maybe a child that would fit quite nicely. That he's just like going, what's her name? Erdo, come, we have to help these kids over there. And like they both like really like stick to the shadows, try to not be seen, get to the children, and then one of the riders is charging. And in a split second, without thinking, he's just like, go, all of you, go. And it's just like putting up his arm to shield himself futilely. Is that how you how adverbialize that? From the oncoming horse. And as he lowers his arm, he just swats at it. And as he comes to a sentence, like the horse is pushed to its side, it's lying
knocked down
with the rider like trapped under the horse.
Well, I'll ask you that in a moment. So the horse is knocked over, and children are looking back. We're going to do seeming human in a bit, because this is odd, and Yadu is kind of wide-eyed. So you've got rid of the horse, great. Do they inflict harm as established? Yeah, I think I'm going to inflict 2 harm on you, because I don't think you knocked it down, but it was a heck of a bump.
Yeah, sure.
But on a 10+, you say how you force them to weather a disadvantage, which could be that they're rolling about on the ground. Dodge or deflect the attack, so you reduce the harm by 1. Sacrifice an item of gear, so you block all harm. Draw all threats menacing someone or something, or any harm they would have inflicted to you. I think you've done that. I don't think you need to use that as your option. Or impress someone enough so that the settlement owes you a debt. What appeals to you?
Sorry, I was just listening halfway because I was filling the harm track.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And it's I feel the uppermost one on wearied and the first one in wounded, right?
Yes.
Okay, so now let's go through the.
I beg your pardon. So yeah, no, that's okay. So if you go to the common moves, confront them, you'll see on a 10+, you also say how you pick one. So which one of those? I think there are 5 bullet points there. Which of those 5 appeal to you?
We just quickly go through them. Sacrifice an item of gear. Nope. Draw threats, menacing someone, or any harm would have inflicted to you. Present observe enough for them to owe you. I like the idea of because you also said that like everybody saw me, and I'm probably gonna look terrible to them in a moment. To also impress them enough to owe me a debt.
Fine, add a debt to Tarham. But yeah, I am now going to make you roll seeming human, I think, because this is the perfect opportunity, I think.
Yes.
So seeming roll plus soul.
Let me just quickly put the harm in there.
Oh, yeah.
They're now at +2. The harm, the
debt.
Yes, there. So, and now seeming human. That's plus soul.
Now, I will remind you, you can cash in a debt the settlement owes you if you can justifiably involve one of the NPCs in generating advantage on this roll.
Okay, yeah. I think oh, that's lovely. If you had told me a minute earlier, and then I'll just take the that right out again. So what's happening is that as you said earlier, right? They're all looking at me, mouth agape, and I do look like the thing that we described last session, you know, like where I look more gaunt all of a sudden, and my teeth become longer and my lips curl back, and they look positively scared. But also they notice that I just saved their lives and that I'm obviously not a threat, even though I look scary. And then I'm like, oh, and I'm like, what? Yeah, it was like, well, what did you just do? That was scary. And
then I think we roll 3d6,
yeah, then we
take
roll
the top
3d6.
two and add soul to see whether that is what Yadu says.
Good call. And add soul. Okay. Let's see.
Okay. Oh, wow. You guys are killing it. That's a 10 plus 2. So on a 10 plus, your seeming is perfectly maintained. And that even if some of those children saw something odd, either their brains can't accept it or the fact that you saved them, whatever it was, not a problem.
But still, they just saw that I kicked over a horse with my bare hands.
Well, or the horse fell over.
And then I'm just like, I guess the gods are protecting us.
Fine.
Yeah.
So as at this point, then I think that Kola is on the hall roof, picking targets. Gwilog is shepherding children away from danger. Isolde, what do you do?
I think I should remind you to mark to shade.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. You are quite right.
Stuff.
Yeah,
there are two wolves in me. Mark the last experience or do something else. Can you tell me, because you mentioned this is like another faction, do they bear like markings on their shield or on their horses that I can like at least know who they are?
I'm very happy for you to look about you and see what see if there's anything that you notice. Given that the horse is in a heap, you have made it to that point of cover that you were looking for, and so you've got a moment in beside this building out of sight where you can think about what's going on. So let's have you roll plus sense.
Sense 1. Yeah.
Oh my.
Mark on the shade.
Gosh. Oh, bleak. Right. Okay. Must think about bleak. So no is the simple answer to your question. And that warrior has clambered to his feet and sees you and is running towards you with his spear. Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you stay or do you go?
I muster some courage to stand and fight him.
Fine. So let's have you confront him with steel. You're using a staff, aren't you?
Yes, my trusty staff.
Which has the same kind of rage as the spear. So you're both at risk of harm here. So let's have you roll plus steel. Oh, go on.
Wait, let's go back, because I will then jump to the other thing I wanted to do. I think Isolde just stands there, doesn't fight the guy, and he just like says, and then the god said, "Thou shall not kill." And I want to invoke my power.
You're invoking your power. Okay. So let me be clear. Are you invoking smite?
Yes.
Or are you okay? You're not. I thought I wasn't certain if that was attend to me, young man. So smite. Okay. So you're going to try and smite him before he gets to you.
Yes.
Yeah. And his defense is that he's, an experienced warrior and he has a shield. So which of those do you want to attack? Do you want him to realize the gods are on your side and maybe that his experience is not enough? Or do you actually want your god to render his shield in half?
Okay, so smite only achieves such a
Well,
meaningful thing.
okay. So what do you? I should ask you. What does success look like? Go ahead.
I guess he just drops to the floor and withers and die. I mean, it's a smite.
It's
a
a
godly
smite.
power.
It's a smite. I take it back. That is absolutely fair for smite. So invoke your gift. So roll plus favor. I don't know what favor is at the moment. It'll be
I zeroed it, so I roll +0.
okay. So 2d6 plus 0.
Yeah, get ready for another 5. It's a 4 this time.
Okay. So yeah, clearly I'm just trying to remember. It is yeah, I think the Christ God is busy elsewhere.
Probably.
Probably, some bishop somewhere who's carrying out miracles, and so God is busy, and so you call down smite, and then he just barges into you,
Exactly.
and does 1 point of harm, and I think he gets to do 2 things on a 6 point. So he'll does harm as established, and he places you at disadvantage. Yeah. But at least 2 of them are now on foot. Okay, Polar. That one that you took his horse out from underneath him, he scurried away into some cover, but because he doesn't know where you are, you can see him, and he is at disadvantage if you choose to attack him. What do you do?
Yeah, we need to start dwindling the numbers down. So Cole is just going to take another arrow from his quill, with his sword, take aim at an exposed part. Like, I'm not sure if they're wearing helmets or not.
Well, yeah, they probably are, but don't worry about that.
Yeah, so of course we're going to aim like at the raider's neck. Is probably like a bit of exposed under the armor there that he could just get the arrow in.
Yeah, let's have you. So that sounds like rolling with sense more than it does rolling with steel. So it's not like you're putting a lot of arrows in the air. You're just picking and going. Yeah.
Yes.
Roll plus sense.
Does him being the disadvantage give me
Gives you 3 dice.
3 dice, okay. So 3d6, I take the top 2.
Yeah.
Top 2, so that's a 9 plus 1, that's a 10.
The shield is no use at all. You hit him. It's not enough to kill him, but he's now completely lost. He's moving the shield randomly. Or maybe it's in his shield arm that you've hit him. So the shield is now no use to him at all. He's still got enough experience not to panic. But what does he do? He takes this opportunity to flee. He's going to run for it because this is much more complicated than he'd anticipated. But on a 10 plus, do you want to keep him disadvantaged? He's not doing any harm on you. Do you want to draw all threats to you? Have the remaining riders noticed you and now are focused on you rather than any of the villagers? Or indeed either of the other heroes? Or do you want to impress someone so that somebody in Tarham owes you a debt?
Okay, I'm not going to keep the disadvantage. The enemy is fleeing. I'll let him flee, focus on the other opponents. So, tough decision. I was initially thinking like maybe impress someone to get the favor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm gonna just say like what I like where my head is at, and then we can, as a group, can then maybe decide what's the best course of action. So my headspace was to get like a favor, maybe like impress the guards in the village to them give us an advantage because they see that we managed to get one of them to flee a few after the horses. So maybe they'll be inspired to fight with us and give us advantage in the fight.
I like that.
That's what I was thinking. But you also said I could potentially get all of them to focus on me.
Yes.
So maybe that's also the correct move. Just get them all to focus on me, to give Isolt and Grillag a chance maybe to get an attack of opportunity while they're distracted. So which of the two options do we think is better?
Any offers, Gwilog?
I like the idea of empowering the villagers to defend themselves more,
Yeah.
rather than us being the heroes.
I think there's a nice thing there about them having something, having their spirit stiffened. Isolde, any counter view?
Nope.
Okay, so Colette, the choice is yours, Dom.
Okay.
But there's the table's view.
Okay. In that case, I'm going to get them the impress that they owe me a favor. So that's a +1.
But then spend it immediately.
Yes, and I'll probably spend it immediately to a 0 to basically assume lady at a high advantage. Have you just kind of shout at the villagers the enemies are only mortared. They believe they are the same as you. Take up your weapons and defend your families and homes.
Okay.
There's many of us, few of them.
So I'm seeing shades of the Magnificent Seven now. So Gwilog, I'm going to come to you next. Kola is shouting at people saying, you can take them out, and people are stopping running, they're turning. They could create an advantage for you if you tell me what you want to do.
I have no immediately good idea. Without that happening, I would have gone farther with protecting and helping people. But there are two riders and horses now, and one on foot, right? And the one on foot is
He's tumbled over there, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe I'll just go and give him the death knell.
Fine. So let's have you roll. You've got advantage. The advantage, other villagers come and he's clearly confused. You're at advantage. 3d6. I think this is plus steel, or in your case, because you have the strength of 10 dead men, it is plus soul.
Sweet. And that's maybe also Gwilog proving something to himself here. Okay.
Oh, that could have gone better. A 3 and a 2 is what I'm seeing.
Yeah, 5 + 7. Well, it's not a failure, at least.
No. So on a 7, he's his shield went skittering over there. And how do you demonstrate that even though he's experienced as a warrior, he's overmatched when he faces you? What is it that you do that makes him realize that he's not good enough?
I mean, the advantage, I think, is that he is trapped under his horse.
Okay.
And so it's not that easy to kill him, so easily that even Gwilog can do it. And but he still manages to fight back. That's why it's only a 7. And he actually does keep Gwilog at bay for a bit with his sword arm. But eventually, Gwilog and the villagers and his broken leg are too much, and I get the lucky jab in.
Fine. Well, you don't kill him yet.
Okay.
Because once you've got rid of all the defenses, then you have a chance to humble him.
Oh, okay.
And then you have a choice about whether you spare him or not.
Sweet.
So his defenses are gone, but on a 7 to 9, it costs you 1 harm, because you're right. He does manage to kind of beat you off temporarily.
Well, if I have the choice to spare him, I think I will spare him.
Well, I'll come to humble him in a moment. I want to go back to Isolde, because Isolde is over there, disadvantaged in a pile, having been abandoned by the Christ God.
Yes, abandoned, run through with the spear.
No, I get barged aside by the shield. You're wearied. You're not bleeding.
Almost, yes. Well, I think Isolt stands there with his staff, and he sort of shouts at the attacker, sort of at the god that abandoned him. Fine, if you don't want to do it, I will do it myself. And just as I engage him with my staff, let's use those devs because otherwise I'm going to die here. What is this? Erase? No. Faction. Yes, I think we see the NPC who is. I'm sorry, it's just switching tabs. Bornhild, our
Oh,
loyal
the
warrior,
yeah.
just comes into the hut as well and just like shield bashes the attacker. Maybe he thought it was me. Maybe he wasn't like obviously like betraying because we don't know about his loyalties are.
Indeed
So,
not. Indeed not.
but it did help.
Yeah. For what he burst into the room, and even if the warrior just looks one way, you have advantage. Let's see if you use it. 3d6. Take the top 2 plus steal.
Nope. Doesn't happen today.
Oh wow.
Not today.
Oh wow. And I've marked shade.
Just for our aware viewers, I rolled 2, a 1, and a 1. Minus
Now,
1.
and now I would offer you an opportunity to help yourself, but I don't see but I don't see that being a storyteller at all applies in this context.
There are so many moves. What was it? Help yourself. Say how you're calling. Yeah, no way. Yeah.
You see what I mean? Tough call that one.
Cool, yeah.
Sorry for taking all the luck. Yes, yeah, we're either really fantastic success or terrible failure at the moment. Oh yes, right. So, right. Barges in. Bjornhild's shadow begins to move. He came in through the door and cast a shadow into the room, and the shadow picks up a pot and throws it at you.
Mm-hmm.
Take 1 harm. Gwilog, do you want to humble this warrior? He's
Yes,
still got
please.
some fight in him until you successfully humble him.
I would like to humble him.
How do you humble him?
By stepping on his sword arm and like putting my axe to his throat and just going, "We've got you. You are defeated. Now tell me, who are you and why are you here?"
I'll give you a choice.
Mm-hmm.
You can either do this with steel as a physical threat, or you can do it with subtle, the using your voice to intimidate him. Which is your choice?
Let me just quickly go up. Subtle or steel?
Yeah.
Well, between those two, I'll take subtle.
Okay. Because I have to say, you are a pretty scary guy to look at. So when this kind of slight death's head looks down at him, and his voice grates out, make your choice. Let's have you roll 2d6 plus subtle, please.
Yes, there we are, 7.
7. So on a 7 plus, they're at your mercy. Do they receive it or do you end them?
Before I make that decision, what does he look like? Like,
he's a Saxon.
A Saxon.
He looks just like the people here.
And also, I just canonized that he has a broken leg, so he won't be able to flee.
Fair enough.
So I will spare him, and we will deal with him later.
Fine. You can say that you can add another settlement called Stenholm. I'll put it in the chat because his faction is Stenholm. There it is. So Stenholm owes you a debt for having mercifully not killed this warrior.
Oh, sweet.
Okay. Let me go back to Kola. Kola, the surviving warriors, you know, the two mounted warriors, and now kind of look up at you. And I think they're having second thoughts. What do you do, Kola?
I think Kola, noticing the hesitation, probably just like walks up to like the edge of the stronghold, the edge of the elevated surface that he's on, and he just kind of shouts at them. You came here to attack these poor people of David down on their luck, but the human spirit is nasty, can't be broken so easily. I suggest you all to leave this village alone, while
Okay.
you still have a chance to done.
Okay, so I think this is roll plus subtle to convince them. Yeah?
Yes, okay, so that's just a 0, so that's just a straight
2d6.
6. And let's just check it. Oh, that's a 5.
Gosh, things have gone down quite quickly. They are going to flee. Yeah. But not without cost to you three. One of the warrior that was in that hut with you, Isolde, scrambles to his feet, and Bjornhold stands out of the way so he can run out of the hut. All of the survivors flee. We only have one of them trapped under the horse with Gwilod standing above them. Yeah? But then the sun is now up. Shadows are cast across the village, and shadows all across the village begin to move.
Even during the day.
During the day.
Oh.
Yeah. So I've filled the shade track is what I need to tell you. So at this point, there is a surprise attack on the heroes, all of whom begin disadvantaged by a more potent manifestation of the darkness, which also places a named PC in jeopardy. The named PC in jeopardy has to be Iadu, the cowardly herder.
No.
Yeah. Because she took the children to one side and then stepped out into the shadow of a hut. And Gwilog, as you look to where she took the children, you see the shadow rising, forming claws coming down on her. Kola, you're in a position where you can see all of this happening. All, hell is breaking loose. Isolde, Bjornhild turns to you and says, "You should not have interfered." Let's start with Gwilog. What do you do, Gwilog?
I think I want to so I don't know that I'm dead. So that avenue is blocked off, but
I think you're beginning to think something is odd.
Yeah, and I think I will take a page out of Isolde's playbook, and I have no idea about old Saxon gods, so or Britain gods. But I think what he does is that he is relating what is happening to some old Britain myth, and is addressing the shadow as some mythical Britain beast, and it's like, and we drove you away back then, and we will drive you away now, and is doing something with soul, and maybe I can do something supernatural if there's something I can do.
Okay, well, I just want to pick up on one thing.
Mhm.
Look at your harm track.
Mm-hmm.
The way the harm track works is until you fill the first 3,
Mm-hmm.
you don't go to the second column. So your third harm is the first dying box,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you need to erase the second wounded and replace it with the first dying, because you fill
Okay.
them vertically as you go.
Okay.
Okay?
Uh-huh.
But I will remind you before you do anything else that you have a move called Ever Living.
Mm-hmm.
Once per session at the end of a scene, because I think that is the end of that scene, the confrontation with the raiders, in which you took harm and that did not end you. Remind us of one of the misdeeds for which you've been cursed. Grit your teeth and bear the pain as your wounds knit automatically.
Yeah, I think since
You don't have to do it, but it's there.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'm totally trusting you here because it's a bit too overwhelming for me. But I think the thing that he actually, oh yeah, okay. So as he is recounting that old myth, he also sees a parallel to that fateful day. And in that myth, a hero is fighting like a dark beast, something like Grendel-like, and he has this moment of doubt, just like Willock had it on the field of battle when he fled, and he then is reminded of the people in his village that he needs to protect, just like Gwillock did on that day where he died. But different than Gwillock on the day that he died, Gwillock now makes the decision to go forth and to go towards the beast and to start to sing like an old a song that his mother sang him.
So first things first, let's roll with steel as your wounds begin to knit.
My steel is -1, I think. Or is it -2? Let me just quick check.
I don't think it's -2.
It's so much scrolling. It's -1. Let's see. That's an 8.
8. So it says 7+, clear dying or erase 1 harm. So you can clear that dying. Any of the dying track that was filled would be cleared. Or you can leave dying in place and clear wounded.
Why would I want to do that?
I can't think of a reason.
Okay. Good. Clearing dying it is then.
Fine. I will just say, folks, even if you fill your dying track, you will have a meeting with your god or their emissary to see whether you want to come back. So, death is not the end. Unless you choose it to be. So, Gwilog, what's going through your mind? What does the audience see in the look on your face as you look down and, maybe that broken rib that the horse gave you? Oh, and then you can feel it kind of under the skin, just, popping out and knitting. What's going through your head?
I set it up earlier when I said the gods seem to be with me tonight or today. And that is what he is doing. He's like, I should have read up on Britain.
No, don't worry about that.
No. But I imagine them, and any experts who are watching that, I'm sorry, but imagine to be like probably sort of animistic, in that they have like gods of the woods and the valleys, and he's just like looking around and trying to see who it is that is protecting him today.
Fine.
And maybe does he see his dark? Does he have a patron? He does have some sort of supernatural entity that's protecting him, right?
All the gods. There's on the gifts and temptation. There are the list of Celtic gods with their kind of broad areas of purview. So is this an insight he gets? In which case, Ceridwen maybe is who's granting him this insight? Is it Nodens who's granting his fortitude to face the challenge?
Mm,
I mean, from my point of view, you can just say, you know, there's a shadow that's different from the other ones.
Would you have a suggestion? What would fit?
I think probably it's either Modron for conviction or Nodens for fortitude.
Then I think it's more conviction than fortitude.
Fine. And maybe this figure just, you know, time stops from when the figure appears behind, whispers in your ear. You really do need to start demonstrating that you deserve to be here.
And he's
Okay.
just like nodding.
Let me go to Isolde, because Bjornhild has just said you really should not have interfered.
I feel like God should have come to me and say, man, you have to start pulling your weight. Anyway, I think Isolde is like in shock by this revelation of betrayal in this village, and now this villain is standing here. So he like stands up because I think last time he was like some pot hit him in the head, thrown by the shadow of Bjornhild. So he like stands up, he like walks to him, and he shouts, "Traitor! What have you done? You have betrayed your own village, your own people. You are in league with them and with them." And I like point at the shadow. And now you are controlling them. You're working with them. That cannot be.
Are you triggering a 10 to me here?
I'm trying. I'm hoping that maybe Kola will hear and shoot his bastard at between his in his back, so that I'm like really vocal. Yes.
Fine. So let's have you roll to a 10 to me. Roll plus subtle.
Yeah. Let's give it a try. Yes. An 8.
Look at that, an 8. So 7 plus. Say who or what stops, watches, and listens for long enough for another hero to act with advantage. Bjornhild kind of backs out ahead of you. You know, this kind of tirade's coming and backs away. Kola, you see Bjornhild backing away from Isolde while Isolde berates them for being a traitor to the village. What do you do, Kola, with advantage?
With advantage. Now, Kola doesn't know what exactly Bjornhild is capable of, but I think Kola, upon seeing these shadows closing in on the village, he's getting like these panic flashbacks, seeing his own village destroyed, and upon hearing the horde probably shouting a wizard traitor, you did this, and seeing Bjornhild just back away, I think Kola is going to jump off the top of the keep, to the house where he is, and tap Bjornhild to try and like just pin him to the ground.
Roll to confront him. This sounds like a physical action, so roll plus steal.
And I've got advantage, so that's 3.
3 dice, take the top 2.
Plus my 2 for my steal, so that should be great. So that's 4, that's a 9, that's 11.
So on a 10 plus, I think I'm going to have Bjornhild taken entirely by surprise here, given that they are kind of fixated on Isolde. So I am literally going to allow you to humble them just like that. Yeah. So humble them. I don't think their defenses don't really apply here, because it's like shield and experience and a mail coat. So I think you just tackle her to the ground. So on a 7 to plus, they're at your mercy. Do they receive it? Do you end Bjornhild, or do you grant them mercy, Kola? They are under your knife.
The question is, does Kola believe if he ends Bjornhild, will the shadows just stop and go away, or will this continue to stay? And he needs Bjorn alive too.
I
believe the
don't
chance-
know. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
You're the man on the spot, Cola. What are you going to do?
But as I believe in, I think the
Woden values the warrior spirit, if that's anything to go by.
I think in this situation, because he's getting like the whole PTSD flashbacks from he's really destroyed the whispers from Woden and the authority and the voters. He's probably just going to take he has an axe, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's probably gonna, like, as he jumps down and he pins Bjorn to the ground, he's probably just gonna raise his axe up and just cut off the head.
Fine. So you end him. But on 10 plus, say what they give you or what you take from them or their remains. Pick one to add to your playbook. But I want to tell you something else first before you make that choice. At the point when the head comes free, Bjornhild transforms. Bjornhild transforms into this twisted figure made out of the twisted roots and branches of a tree. And in among all these branches and roots, you can see human remains. And there's an incredible stench of death coming off it. And it rolls away, turns and points at you. Now, do you want something from them? Because they're going to go. They're going to. You've dealt with the threat here, right? So you do get a charm or trophy that confers advantage once, now or later. An undefined insight that you can define yourself in a because you don't need an insight now because the darkness has revealed itself. I hadn't thought of this as a strategy. Advance the shade track till darkness just appears. So do you want an insight for the next village, or do you want a charm or token or trophy that you take from the body that will give you advantage at some point in the future?
I'm going to have to take a trophy in this case.
Okay. We'll talk about exactly what it is in a moment. But this thing appears to just step away from you, and it's like they stepped sideways and they're gone. Isolde, you are there when this happens. Roll to look about you. With advantage.
Yes.
Because I think you have myths and monsters, don't you?
Yes. Wait. So many tabs. So many questions. Yes, I do have myths and monsters.
Roll with advantage. Roll plus sense.
3 dice. 1. That's the first 12 for me today.
There you go. In the end, something good happened. So on a 7 plus, I'm going to tell you that this creature was a member of the Fae. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that it escaped means that the Fae owe you a debt. Now, Cola doesn't know this, but at the moment when it's about to disappear, you have an opportunity to demand a debt from it. Do you do so?
Yes.
Fine. Down there on factions, write Fae or Fairy, take your pick, and they owe you a debt. And it looks back at you and says something like, or speaks into your head, I think, something like, damn you, mortal. And then it's gone. Okay. Shadows stop moving. Gwilog, you're running towards Iadu. at the point when the shadow just turns back into the shadow of the side of a hut.
And I was just about to throw my axe. Oh.
There you go. You have successfully uncovered, or maybe the darkness just revealed itself to you. There is a tab. It's another tab, Pavel. You know me, I do love a move. I'm moving it along to next to Tarham. It's called leaving. And the first move at the end of having addressed the darkness is the aftermath. But we'll do the aftermath because I'm conscious I've overrun my break time by some distance. I just couldn't find a way to interrupt that confrontation.
Perfect moment for that.
So is 5 minutes long enough?
Sure.
Fine.
Yeah.
Let's be back in our seat at 1:30, okay?
Sure.
Yeah.
See you then. So we come back to the aftermath. And on the leaving tab in the Character Keeper, you'll find that there is a move called the aftermath. When the climactic revelation scene has been successfully resolved, the Fates asks the heroes to describe a brief epilogue for the settlement, and if they wish, for any surviving NPCs. So you don't have to. It's an offer, not a requirement. But let me start with Dominic. Do you want to describe anything as an aftermath, as an epilogue for the settlement, or anyone in it?
Yes. I think one thing that is that the town is taken away from that is that they are surprisingly well set up in terms of their children and their elderly, and in particular, what's her name? Yadu. Maybe she learned something from the whole ordeal, or took a page out of Gulag's book, and she also tries to face her fears. And since she ran away when the attack started with all her goats and cows, she has actually preserved a sizable source of wealth for the village, and the villagers, after like scoffing over her cowardice in the beginning, come around to see that she did the village a big service in doing that, in preserving the livestock.
And I think I'd like to have Yadu just come to Gwilog and say, I can't believe it. You were right. When your friend called on us to kind of defend ourselves, I felt I could do that because of what you'd said. And it's clear that her status in the village has gone up. So so I'm going to add, just in case we need her again, Yadu learns she can be brave.
Oh, that's lovely.
Pavel, do you want to add anything to epilogue for either one of the NPCs or for the settlement as a whole?
I don't really have an idea at the moment.
That's fine. Dom, what about you? Do you want to?
For the NPCs, I'm thinking that now that beyond his betrayal, or that he wasn't even actually a part of the seven to begin with, I think that perhaps Gilda, the outcast, they now bring forward, because I do remember in the first session that she was accusing Beyondhead of betrayal. So maybe now they say like, okay, Gilda was right about this. Perhaps Beyondhead, she found out about Beyondhead's schemes, and Beyondhead, using his position as a warrior of the local road, kind of like put the village against her. But now that his betrayal has been revealed, she's given back roaming by the village.
Yeah, that works for me. I've written, Gilda was right. Her status increases from outcast. We won't worry about where she gets to, but she's now no longer an outcast. That's great.
And
Go on.
I'm not sure if I can do both this as well. I was thinking that perhaps maybe we get like a scene where we see Kola like maybe teaching like some of the villagers like how to shoot a bow, because probably they like saw Kola shooting at the arrows and how effective that was, especially given how they couldn't really reach Kola due to them any dangerous weapons themselves. So I think maybe like that would be like a nice little scene where we see Kola like teaching archery to some of the villagers.
I go for that. Let me add the villagers are more proficient with the bow, ... Okay. That's great.
Can I offer another thing?
Oh, go on. Yeah.
For the warrior that I spared, Gulok asked him, like once everything has died down, again, who are you and what are you doing here? And he tells Gulok about the dire hunger that has befallen his town, and that they are really desperate, and that's why they're raiding the surrounding villages, because it's a fight for survival for them. And that is the way to survive that they see.
Fine. That's why they raided Tarham. Okay, I've added Stenholm is going hungry. That's why they raided Tarham.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it could be that you may want to return to Stenholm at some point, but we'll come to that in a bit.
Maybe you inspired me to maybe add something else.
Go on.
I think Isolde told the locals that they should go to the ruins where the Roman coin was found, and then they should like look for all of the other coins. And because this coin somehow angered the spirits, the local spirits of the invasion that happened like years and years ago. Although I'm not sure how far behind, when was the invasion?
I mean, this the Romans have been here had been here for 300 years.
Yeah, and that they should like just like make someone take the coins away from the town, so that the spirits are like less angry with the money of the invaders.
Is Isolde offering to take the money away?
What can go wrong with this? Yes.
So a hoard of Roman coins is discovered at the ruins. Isolde
Cursed Roman coins.
offers to look after them. ... Yeah?
I'm sure he's not going to use it for anything for himself.
I'm sure that the Christ God would want him to give it to charity, when he has the opportunity.
Of course.
So that gives us a great setup for the way the world has changed because of your action. That's great. Next, if the Fates agrees that the heroes defeated the darkness and beset the settlement, each hero erases 2 from the shade track. So I think you certainly did. So I'm going to take 6 off the shade track. No, it has to be more than that. I'm going to clear the shade track. No, that's a stupid rule. The shade track is cleared. I was thinking that shade would build up across different settlements, but let's forget about that. That's just a stupid idea. They did the heroes. Let me just...
It could work depending on if you want to maybe go like kind of overarching larger threat to the whole like area versus just maybe a localized threat to one settlement.
Yeah, no, well, you provide me an interesting segue to a move called apotheosis, which is when you have succeeded in several villages, you get to say what's the overarching threat. So yeah, no, I think that's part of what's in my head, that you would play maybe 3-4 settlements, and then you'd have a go at working out what's the greater darkness. But that shade track is cleared. It's a complication too far. If the fate says that the hero's supernatural patron is satisfied with what they did, that hero clears That's stupid. Clears. Hang on. Sorry. The heroes clear the shade track and each reduce the debt they owe by 1. So everybody, you did a good job there. I think your patrons are satisfied with the efforts you made. Each of you can reduce the debt you owed them by 1. Sadly, if you didn't owe them a debt, c'est la vie. Even if the settlement is glad to be rid of them, everyone clears wearied and wounded. So any wearied and wounded you can clear.
Nice.
Alun, I looked into the history and you changed it just a moment before this. Just a minute ago, the sentence was: if the fate says that the hero's supernatural patron is satisfied, the hero erases 1 that they owed to the patron. You must have changed the wrong line.
I've changed the wrong one, haven't I? Yeah, thank you.
Because I looked into the history.
Thank you. We know what I mean. There it goes. There it goes. Okay.
Yes.
There we go. So if each hero, they are right. Okay. The shade track there. Thank you. The shade track.
Just to make sure I'm reading that right correctly, under debts of honor, I have the old gods in favor too. So they are owing me, or am I owing them? Do I have favor with them, or do I have a debt?
So at the moment, every time you owe them a debt, they subtract 1 from your soul. Favor is soul minus debt. So your soul is 2, your debt is 0, so your favor is currently 2. You with me?
Yeah. Now I get it.
So let me just check that I've picked up that.
And does the favor stat do anything? Or is
it's what you use to invoke your gift.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's not going to be anything carried forward. Thank you for that, Pavel. Okay. If the face there we go. Okay, I think I'm back to where I need to be. Thank you for that. Nobody's got any dying, so that's fine.
I mean, I have.
Oh, have you got dying?
Of course.
Oh, of course, yes. You took a bit of a hammering, didn't you? I'm sorry, I'd forgotten.
Yeah,
so
plenty of hammering.
Either if we have a playbook move that addresses dying, I think I'm probably looking at Payne's Balm. Gwilog?
Sure.
So you could invoke your gift with the intention of completely healing Isolde.
Yeah.
Is that what you want to do? It's the heroic thing to do, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So that's a neat demonstration then of gifts and temptations. Invoke your gift. When you call on a patron to empower your gift, agree with the fates what success will look like and roll plus favor. So you're now rolling +2 again.
Jawohl. That was very German. It's an 8.
8.
No, wait. It's why it says 6 + 2, which is 8, and then +2 should be 10.
No, it's the 2 dice. The 2 d6s are a 3 and a 3.
Yeah.
2 makes it 8.
Okay,
you with me?
That makes sense. Yeah.
I kind of never bother to try to add the attribute in there, because if you're rolling 3 dice, it gets really complicated.
Yeah. I just read it wrong. Okay,
yeah.
It makes sense.
So on 7+, they empower your gift and you achieve your aim. Pick one. Owe them a debt in thanks for what they've done for you, Gwilog, or make a blood sacrifice and mark harm.
I think I would like to owe them a debt.
Fine. So now you go down.
And then that just like goes on the pile. Like Gwilog feels incredibly like in debt to his patron anyway. So yeah.
Fine.
That tracks.
7 like the fate picks ones. You attract unwelcome attention. Your gift has a complicating effect. Your gift takes more from you than you had expected. I'm going to make you mark harm.
Sure. Sweet.
Took more from you than you expected.
Yes, it's always very, very taxing.
It is. And that's leaving That's Aftermath just about done.
So do I clear all of my free farm?
Everything.
Okay. And otherwise, if we didn't have anyone to help with dying, I would just like leave this box ticked, this dying
No,
box.
you then throw yourself on your
Okay.
on your patron's best wishes, which in your case has not so far proved very helpful.
Not
God
yeah.
does not love you yet.
Yeah, no.
Mine does.
Yes, exactly. Oh, yes, we could get in some God on God competition here. Finally, the Fates triggers Wir Bith Full Arrayed. This move is intended to create a dynamic background against which the legend of the heroes unfolds. So, first of all, as you leave Tarham, I need to know which nearby kingdom you're traveling to. Now, for that, you need to look at the map. There's a map tab with a map on it.
And where we were?
You are somewhere east of Eotenweard in Deira. You see Deira? Hang on,
Yes.
let me share a screen because then I can show off my mapping skills.
Yeah.
Okay, with any luck, you can now see this and
Yes.
maybe see my mouth moving. My
Yes.
mouse moving. This is the Kingdom of Deira. It's a Saxon kingdom. That's where Tarham is located, somewhere over here. If we were doing this around a table, we'd actually put it on the map. What about that? The question then becomes, do
Is
you
the
want
map
to...
going to be part of the Kickstarter, like
Yes.
branded map?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Will you move north from Deira into Saxon Bernicia? Do you want to move west into Christian British Elmet or Christian British Gwynedd? Do you want to head into the pagan lands of the hill country, the hill tribes? Or do you want to head into the pagan lands of the Marshmen?
I always love Marshmen, being a marsh dweller myself, being from Berlin. But what about that something home town? Can we pursue that with a famine?
Yes. Okay. If you pursue Stenholm, given what we've got so far, you are going to head into Bernicia.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
That would
I
be
also
the
wanted
organic
to say
thing.
let's go there.
And I will put Tarham nearer the border.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're going to head north into Bernicia. Fine. So I need a settlement. We know the settlement is going to be called Stenholm.
Oh no, we get to create a settlement again.
You do, but not quite yet. Okay, so we know that the next village settlement on your journey to myth and legend. I'll stop the share now. There we go. We know it's going to be Stenholm. But first, I go back to leaving. We need to work out what relationships are like, because it is possible that Bernicia and Deira are not as friendly as we might think, both being Saxons. So what it says is, Fates ask them to agree which neighbouring faction they're going to. You're going to Bernicia. The Fates remains wholly inexorable. So once they have set off, the Fate asks one hero to roll to determine if the posture of that faction, Bernicia, in relation to where you're leaving, Deira, changes. Currently,
what does the Fates remain wholly inexorable phrase mean?
It's actually for our viewers, you know, the fan base, they know that it's tied to Bernard Cornwell's Last Kingdom. The hero of those books and of the TV series of the same name is always talking about the Fates being wholly inexorable.
I read
it
that, but I
means
can't remember.
that stuff happens, shit happens, come what may.
Okay.
So let me bring factions into view. So, in the order I can see you, I'm going to go to Dom for this one. Yeah. So, Dom, I need you currently You are traveling from Dira into Bernicia. Currently, relationships are neutral. Yeah? So I need you to roll. It says they are currently neutral. Roll plus 0, Dom. So 2d6 flat roll.
That's a 6 total.
That's a 6. Okay. On a 6-, the neighboring faction shifts its posture towards raiding. So it seems like circumstances are not good. So relationships between Dira and Bernicia are now hostile. That may be because there's a famine in Bernicia. Maybe it's not just Stenholm. Maybe there's raiding going on all across that border.
We've seen it
But
firsthand.
say again?
We have seen it firsthand.
You have. So that's great. They're not raiding, so you're not going to meet a war party on the road. Instead, we go to encounters on the road. When traveling into the faction they have named, the heroes encounter travelers. I'm going to roll 2d6. I don't get to do that often.
Enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely. A 6 and a 3. Okay, I think that these are seekers of searchers. I think they are pagan, Saxon searchers heading south.
Mm-hmm.
And they are searching for a wise woman reputed to be able to stop a famine. Okay? If the faction the heroes are traveling into is neutral or hostile, it is hostile. The hero with the lowest favor rolls plus favor. You will need to go down to your god to see what your
that's
current
me.
favor is. Oh, is that you?
Yeah, I have -1 favor.
Okay, so let's roll -1 to work out something about these travelers. Oh my.
That's 2.
2 - 1. That's a whole 2. Okay, it says on a 6-, they seem friendly enough. You know, they invite you to share their campfire, to break bread with them. But 6-, the heroes misread the encounter. Every hero with a mark temptation, not burden, must seek solace in friendship with one of the travelers, but does so at disadvantage. I don't think any of you have yet chosen to put a temptation into place, have you?
Yeah.
To my knowledge.
No, because it would be a way to reduce the debt you owe. But there you go. So it's not a friendly encounter. It turns out that something in the conversation maybe hints that you encountered some raiders from Stenholm, which they know the village, and maybe that cools the relationship a bit, but not to a point where it turns nasty. And then we go to Stenholm. So you are going to create a new settlement. And somewhere I have Stenholm. There she is. Don't need factions. Do need arriving at Stenholm. There we go. You should see it now near the common moves. Yeah? So Stenholm, we have a page for it. When we arrive, when the heroes first come inside of the settlement, the fates will name it, Stenholm, and ask each of them to answer a question that will begin to shape the reason their supernatural patron has guided their footsteps here. Now, this is an opportunity to shape the nature of the darkness. Now, I think we already know that they have food shortages. Yeah? So we take that for granted. Food is short. But I want each of you to either tell me something you see that either reinforces that or extends on that, or something you have dreamed or noticed, some allegorical vision that leads you to know that this is not just a shortage of food, that your patron believes the darkness is at work here.
Mhm.
Yeah? So anyone want to volunteer to kick off?
I have
Or
some
shall I?
idea. I have
Okay,
some idea.
go on, Pavel.
Completely not drawing on a famous movie, from a famous movie. I think we see that in a not so far distance from Stenholm, there is like forest, but the forest, the trees are like twisted. They have many branches that twist around other trees. We would call it like a scary forest, to say the least.
Okay.
And since we have encountered Fae, Isolde already expects that it might be there somehow connected, since the Fae were already mingling in the earlier settlement.
Okay.
I totally loved the description that you gave earlier of the body parts being twisted into the trees, and maybe we can have that in these woods too, just because it's such a haunting and scary image.
Okay. So,
Oh, so at the entrance to the forest, there are like bodies like on this twisted trees. Oh my God. Yeah, awesome. And super
okay.
scary.
Okay. So we see we've got body parts, and that's the body parts in trees, and that's what allows that connection to the Fae to be
Mhm.
pinned down, given what we've
Mhm.
previously seen. Yeah. Okay. So that was Dominic and Pavel combined there to come up with something. Dom, do you want to give me something in terms of theme and flavor that we're after at this settlement?
Now to help out with the famine angle, I thinking that perhaps an ideal ways to travel here. Kola like had like a dream where he perhaps like saw like maybe like just like a mountain, like a river of like livestock corpses and like some kind of creature like just like looming over them.
So a shadow over dead livestock. Fair enough. And maybe you're reminded when you look down at the village, you can see that their sheep and cattle are thin and not thriving. Fair?
Yeah, I think it's fair. Like a lot of the livestock is very thin. Perhaps like there's like even like a few piles where there's just like bone thin livestock, like just with flies all around them.
Ooh, flies. Yeah. Okay. ... I think that's enough flavor. Yeah, I think we've got enough to be working with there. Then I want to zoom in on the people. Yeah. So again, we're going to go to the Stenholm tag. I'll move Tarham out the way. And I cannot honestly remember where I started last time, so I'm going to start. I'm going to start with Dominic. Dominic, significant people of the settlement. We're on the Stenholm tab, a descriptor and a role in the village.
And as always, as last time, I'm just going to roll my physical dice.
Okay.
So we have significant people of settlement. That is a 3 and a 1, so that is a generous.
Or a
And
1 and a 3. Take your pick.
It was generous or benevolent. Okay, but I'll stick with generous for now.
Okay.
And roll at the hall or at the village?
Okay. Well,
no, it's the same dice.
Exactly.
Okay. Then it's a 5-5. Either way, I read it.
Okay.
It's either generous or a benevolent slave. I think a generous slave.
Generous slave. So I'll tick both of those. If you would put that in one of the village boxes rather than the hall boxes, put a generous slave, and you can come up with a Saxon name if it's a Saxon slave, or maybe it's a Celtic slave, a British Christian slave taken in war. You'll find some names down below. Give them some pronouns. and put them in the box. Let me go along to Pavel. If we've got a generous slave, who else do you want to see in our supporting class?
I rolled some dice, and it turned out that it is that the dice said either our energetic crafter, or if I reverse it, sorry, I'm just trying to remember what it was. 4 and 3.
Energetic crafter would be 2/6. So 6,
Yes,
2.
or wait, or malicious warrior. We already had a warrior.
Yeah, we have.
So let's go with the energetic crafter. We didn't have it,
Okay,
so it will be really
okay.
interesting.
Energetic crafter. So again, if you would put that next to our generous slave, and if Dominic, you can give that generous slave a gender, and then give him either a Saxon or a Celtic name.
I'm working.
Oh, you're on
it.
it. Okay, sorry.
I'm just trying to simulate the random table that's not there.
I clearly need to put some numbers down next to those names, don't I?
Yes.
For next time. And finally, Dom, a third member of our settlement supporting cast.
I got those like an aging hunter or fisher.
Okay. Well, we'll work out whether they're hunter or fisher, depending on whether anybody comes up with a river, lake, or estuary as a location. Fair enough?
Yeah, we do have a nearby forest.
We
So
do.
we could have
We
hunter,
do.
yeah.
So I'm going to enforce a forest because so Pavel, I'm going to say you've chosen a forest as a nearby location. So I'll put forest in there. But Dom, given that I came to you last for people, what kind of forest? Now, twisted was used. Is there a descriptor of this forest that I don't think twisted is there, but there's some alternatives, I think. I'm seeing foul, gloomy, haunted, menacing, sinister. Which descriptor of the forest do you want to add, Dom?
Let's see. It has a body part in it, so dangerous might be good, but I'm kind of leaning towards treacherous.
Treacherous. Okay, so I will make that a treacherous forest. If I can spell treacherous, I think I may have done. Okay. Then Dominic, what other nearby location of interest do you want to come up with? We've got a forest. If you had something water related, then maybe that is an aging fisher. But take your pick. What do you want nearby?
Sorry, I was just so busy with getting the name Alvin.
I'm sorry.
So what am I selecting now? Sorry.
You're selecting another nearby place of interest.
Okay, so I can just roll.
You can.
Nice. That is a 1 and a 5.
So 1/5 would be an estuary.
There.
5/1 would be a ravine.
What is an estuary?
An estuary is a wide, so this is at the coast. It's where a river broadens to meet the sea. So this would be a coastal settlement. Yeah.
Oh, that's lovely.
Okay. So we have an estuary in place. So our aging hunter could be an aging fisher if you were interested in doing that. Pavel, give me a descriptor for our estuary.
Treacherous is taken. I think what fits. I like the idea of dangerous.
Dangerous estuary?
Yes.
Oh, treacherous.
So
treacherous forest and a dangerous estuary. This is no place to build a village.
Or maybe misty.
Oh,
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Ooh,
Let's go
yeah.
with misty. It's like covered with mist.
Yeah.
It's like so we see fishermen like paddling into the mist, and then they are gone until they like come out of it.
Oh, yes, misty estuary. Brilliant. We've created Dunwich. That's fine. Eofor, the aging hunter fisherman, Bedwyr, the energetic crafter, and Alwyn, the generous slave. I think all of those are he hims, unless I'm much mistaken.
For the aging hunter fisher.
Oh, he's undefined.
I took I just lowered status name and I just said undefined because I was thinking like perhaps they're just like wearing a lot of clothes, a hood, and we just don't know. Like the
Fine.
voice is maybe like just raspy enough that it could be Eotenweard.
Fine.
I've also added, because I picked a British name, even though it's a Saxon territory, so maybe that to make this like energetic crafter even more like outstanding. I think it's like a wood crafter by the time it's probably, or a smith, maybe
well,
it's
no,
like
wait
a coaster, yeah?
until we have a look at them.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just like saying that he's British, so it's like slightly out of place to make it even more like standing out. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love that. As previously, the camera always then zooms in on the settlement, so we get a look at our supporting cast. Eofor, the aging hunter or fisherman or fisher person. What do we see? What do we see when the camera finds Eofor, Dom?
I guess the first thing is we need to decide why can't Eofor actually be both?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. So, do you want to see him hunting, or do you want to see him returning from the hunt? Maybe because we're zooming in on the settlement. We don't want him to be away from the settlement. So, is he returning from the hunt with, I don't know?
I think perhaps we'll see Eofor like returning like from the forest, returning like from a hunt, and they've been down the luck. They didn't find much. Maybe they have like a squad, like one or two, and perhaps we see them like going to the estuary, like maybe checking to see if their like fishing net line has like maybe gotten some fish, and perhaps it's the same story as the forest. Like there's no fish. If there is, it's maybe like something small, like not like even enough for finger food.
Yeah. There we go. We're at very little game nearby, and the static fishing lines aren't catching much either. Thank you. That works for me in terms of Eofor, our aging hunter. And when we say aging, is he hale and hearty? Is he fit and old, or does the age have does that come across to our audience in terms of what this means for this character?
I don't want to paint us in a corner.
No, fair enough. Don't then. Absolutely.
Yeah, I gotta paint us in a corner.
Fine. Then let me come next to who created whom. I've lost track now already. Let me come to Bedwyr, the energetic crafter. Pavel, I think he's yours.
Yes.
What do we see that because you want him to be picked out as unusual? So
yes.
What makes him? How do we know? How do we, the audience, know he's unusual?
I think we see that. I'm not very well versed with the architecture, but his house is like the first house you encounter when you get into the village. Someone would say it's even on the outside, but yeah, it's on the first house that as you enter. And we see like an open workshop, and we see him there. He's like clean shaven, wearing some apron, and I think Bedouin is like crafting furniture for houses. And because his like workshop shop is like open, anytime like someone like moves there, he just like shouts like very loudly at the person that and this is like a hey, Mr. Lady, buy some furniture. I have like this and this and this and this. And we see that there are some things being seen, but yeah, they're like loud, kind of like obnoxious, not fitting in. Yeah.
I'm curious. He's of British he's of British origin. Is he a Christian or not?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll add British Christian.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Okay. And finally, Alwyn the generous slave. Dominic, when the camera finds Alwyn the generous slave, how do we know that he's a generous slave? Quite a tricky one, that, but give it your best shot.
I actually had an idea, and then the longer I thought about it, the less comfortable I was with actually having slavery in our game.
Fair enough.
And usually that is a line for me.
Oh, well, we can put a line in retrospectively, don't we?
Yeah, and then I rolled again, and now he is a generous storyteller. But I don't have...
I mean, we can make him servant. If that it depends what kind of social status you want him to sit in.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe we can go with no, I actually I would like to not to have the concept of people owning people in any kind of way. I know that they did that, but no.
No, fine. So the storyteller. So if you want to, and you want to keep him as generous?
Yeah. A slave was the only part that I had a problem with.
And then you need to put him in the hall.
Okay. Yeah.
Because he has status as a storyteller.
Okay.
Isolde will tell you all about the status of storytellers. They're well known to have high status storytellers. So then I need to create the lady, the lord or lady, and I think that I will make this. I'm going to roll a dice. Why shouldn't I roll a dice? This is quite fun.
Yes, it is.
Dice rolling. I do so little of it these days. 6-3. So is this
nothing better than random tables?
Exactly. Is this an underhand or a 3-6 infirm? I am going to go for the underhand lady. And now I wish I'd put a random table for the names. Let me call her. What have we not had yet? Don Githu. There we go. Okay, the underhand lady, Don Githu.
What does the underhand mean in this?
Underhand
context?
means untrustworthy. Yeah, kind of manipulative and untrustworthy, acting behind people's backs, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Oh, that is lovely. Because I was just imagining Alwyn to be her skald, like her port storyteller. And I liked the combination of her being shifty and untrustworthy, and him being generous, in that maybe she tends to promise things to people and then go back on it, and he then behind her back make sure that people get what they were promised.
Well, don't beware painting yourself into a corner.
And that protects the status.
So that's our supporting cast. And then we have a treacherous forest and a misty estuary. And that is our starting position. The next bit of arriving is Shadows Manifest. When the heroes reach the settlements, I will ask you where the inciting incident occurs. And last time you went for an argument outside the hall, as I remember. So this time round, I think, I can't remember, agree among yourselves. Does this occur at or just outside the settlement's boundary, within the boundary somewhere in the village, or in the Great Hall while the heroes are offered hospitality?
The last incident happened,
in the
I believe, in the hall, so we should avoid that one.
Okay.
So perhaps maybe we see something happen, like in which perhaps, because we know like there's like raiding parties happening in, what's the kingdom name? Bernicia.
Mhm.
Perhaps the inciting incident is us coming to Stenholm and seeing like maybe some raiders are coming back
Well,
as well.
again, I'm going to ask you first, at the boundary or in the village? If we're ruling out the hall, where is it? Because then I'll go round to build up the rest of it. So,
I'm think-
Dom, you get the pick. At the boundary or just outside or somewhere in the village?
I'm thinking in the village, we see like just as they as like a raiding party.
Where
comes back.
you need to spread the joy here. Need to spread the joy in the village.
In the village.
Then the Fates ask them to develop the fiction by agreeing what form the inciting incident will take. Let me go to Dominic this time. Is there a heated conversation between NPCs in the village? Does something supernatural occur? Does someone or something make a surprise or unexpected entrance or arrival? Or is there something even more flavorful or interesting that happens? And all I need you to do is to pick one of those categories, because I'm going to go to Pavel to flesh it out.
Okay, then I'm going with the unexpected arrival and hope that Pavel takes what I have in mind.
Okay, so we are looking at someone or something makes a surprise or unexpected entrance or arrival, and that someone is not you. So, Pavel, the Fates will ask who or what arrives and what do they do before you can act. So you've come into the village, and then there's a surprise arrival or unexpected entrance. What is it? What do they do? Who or what arrives?
Yes, I'm thinking. Do I have some? I'm trying to clarify. Is there a pick list for me to choose from or not?
There isn't.
Not this
There
time.
isn't a
No,
pick
not
list.
this time.
This is
Okay.
I tell you, there's an infinite pick list.
Okay.
Anything that you want.
I'm curious. Could Faye be so open to come into the village?
If you want that to happen, let's have it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by surprise arrival or entrance, do they just appear? Or do you see them coming? It would help me if they just appeared, because then it's not entirely clear where they came from.
Yes, let's go with it.
Okay. And I think that probably as you enter the village and people look kind of drawn and hungry, we know that the animals are thin, but so are the people. And, you know, the energetic crafter is doing his best to keep his spirits up in the face of all of this. But then I think one of them, out of nowhere, appears this stooped, hooded figure. Their cloak goes down to the ground, and you can't see their feet, and they almost seem to glide across the village towards the hall. Where I'm interested, I'll ask Dominic this. Dominic, is it Lady Dongithu or our generous storyteller who meets them or meets her, it?
That is an interesting question. I think I will go with Alwyn.
Fine. So our generous storyteller comes out of the hall, and the villagers stop and look at this. Alwyn comes out of the hall and he's approaching this mysterious figure. Cola, what do you do?
Seeing how in the last settlement the issues were cast by the Fae, I think, and the other two are welcome to stop Kola if they wish to do so. I think Kola's instinct upon seeing this Fae would be to take out his axe and try and rush it.
Okay.
But I'm leaving it also open to Izzard and Vilak if they want to
stop you.
Yeah, to stop me or to tuck me down of getting into this.
So yeah, so I think what we're seeing here then is Kola kind of goes, Faye, gets out his axe and makes a step forward. Isolde, Gwilog, do either of you talk him down or physically kind of whoa?
I think Gwilog's surprisingly strong grip holds Kola's arm and goes, we just arrived, let's not start trouble.
Then Isolde, Gwilog has just kind of calmed Kola down. This isn't PvP, so there's no role here. Isolde, what do you do?
Isolde also looks at Kola and says, I know what happened in the earlier village, but we are not sure if this is also happening here. Let's observe and let's talk. And I wouldn't like to, this forest is quite close. If we start something, the villagers might suffer.
So when you say
let's go and talk with this thing being
Isolde, I was going to ask if when you say let's observe, I was wondering how you were going to observe, whether you were going to get close enough to listen to any conversation or whether you want to be part of the conversation. So Isolde, what do you want to do?
I think just approach and stay, because I envision they will not be whispering, they will be just talking. So just go forward and stay just so that we can hear, but not
you want to try and hear something.
Yeah, just stand close by. I think they will be rather I hope that they will be rather loudly talking. Yes.
Fine. So let's have you roll to look about you. Roll plus sense.
Let's start moving the clock. It's a 5. Yeah, like I said, let's start moving this clock.
Oh my goodness me, that is remarkable. Okay.
We've looked at the strategy, how to win.
Okay, remind the heroes of the inciting incident or amplify signs and portents. I think that what you notice, Isolde, is a little songbird that flits from the hall, and it's clearly going to perch on that hut over there, and it passes over these two, our Alun R, generous storyteller, and this hooded figure. And as it passes over, it stutters in flight and falls dead. I think that's an appropriate kind of, this is not very nice. Gwilog, you see that happen. What do you do, if anything? Isolde went to listen, and then you notice the bird, bang, dead. Falls at your feet, Gwilog. What do you do?
I take it in my hand and observe it. See if I can find a reason why it died.
I wondered if you wanted to try to bring it back to life with.
I was thinking about that, but I'm not sure. I would be very open to that happen accidentally. Let's put it that way. But I don't think Gwilog is aware of his status yet. Enough to do it voluntarily.
I'm assuming you're running an internal clock on when the penny drops for Gwilog.
It will drop when it's not deniable anymore.
Fair enough. Okay, so maybe it is simply a matter of you hold the bird, and your gift activates.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah. So let's have you.
And maybe one of the gods is whispering something.
Let's have you roll plus favor.
Yeah, let's do that. 2d6 plus 2. And hit it.
Oh, that's a 9 plus.
Mm-hmm.
What's your is it +2? It is, isn't it? So
It's 11. Hmm?
yeah, because your favor's a 2 at the minute.
Yes,
So
it is.
owe your patron a debt or a blood sacrifice?
Mm. Oh, that is a good question because I like both.
I think the challenge here is that if this is not an active invocation on the part of Gwilog, it's going to be difficult for him to explain why he starts bleeding or something similar.
Yeah, no,
Unless you've got a clever way to do that.
I don't think that's a problem at all. You can just be like, like the bird starts to flap its wings and Gwilog is very exhausted, and I don't see that as a problem. But I think the way with the dead is more interesting actually, in that his patron is, or like one of the gods is whispering to him,
Okay.
and says, you want to. I read your thoughts, Gwilog. I read your mind and I read your heart, and I know you want to protect life, and I know you want to fight against the darkness. Here, do it then. I will
Fine.
help you. And then the ... of what you
Can
only...
I add something to the
Yeah,
end of that
of
thought?
course.
And then there's a pause.
Mhm.
Ironic that you granted life. And the bird flutters into the sky, into the air. Cola, you see this happen, and at the moment it happens, the hooded figure turns towards the three of you,
Oops.
and raises a wrinkled, knobbly hand. I see you. I see you walking, mortal who should not walk. And then turns back to Alwyn and says, our discussions are at an end. And steps sideways into nowhere.
Now I got a question.
Go on, Cola.
The trophy I took from the last Fae,
Yeah.
beyond him, what is it?
Oh, you tell me. What would you like it to be? Because it's going to grant you advantage on a relevant roll. So it can be whatever you like. It could be a bit of their physical, could have been maybe you hacked a piece of because you chopped the head off the supposed Bjornhild. Maybe you were left with a piece of that Fae. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, in that case, I think Cole would have been left with just a piece of the Fae that he probably just put in a small bag that he's just keeping, and he maybe put the piece in a small bag, attached a string to it, and just wear it around his neck.
I like that. And it will grant you advantage on a relevant action related to Fae. Are you angling towards using it now? Because it's a one use and then its advantage is gone. But
That's now. I just wanted to make sure what it was, because I wasn't sure what the trophy was and if it was applicable to the situation.
and when the figure disappears, Alwyn turns towards the three of you and says, how did you do that? And I'm inclined to say that's where we end the episode. Because I think that would be quite a nice place to pick up.
Let's do it.
If you don't feel hard done by, because I just think that's quite a nice segue into a conversation next time, and then we get into the investigating what's going on. Because I think he'll be quite interested to know what you say. Yeah. So let's cut it at that point. We'll do a previously on next time, but let's do end of session XP before we do anything else. let me go right to left this time. So starting with Gwilog. Did we see the influence of your burden?
My
burden of
is
longing.
my longing. Yes, the entire thing with the lady with Yadu,
Yeah.
and also I think the mercy towards the raider.
You even tried to make a connection with the enemy.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. XP, no question. Did you address a challenge with kindness? We're talking about the same thing, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
2 ticks for you today.
Okay.
Moving along to our storyteller, did you draw risky attention to yourself? Oh, yes, you did.
A lot.
Yes, yeah. Without much benefit, it must be said. So certainly that. Did you address a challenge with knowledge?
I don't think so.
You try to figure out from which faction the raiders were, so that might count.
Yeah, I think it does.
I don't think it was me. I think it was Gwilok who learned what faction they belong
Oh,
to.
was it from oh yeah, maybe you did.
Yeah, Gwilok
Yeah.
learned.
Yeah, maybe you did.
Yeah,
I think
to.
no, you did address a challenge with knowledge. You just failed the role. You wanted to know more about these shadow things. I'm sure you asked me that question, didn't you?
I wanted to know more about the raiders to somehow help me this.
Yeah.
Raiders.
So you rolled to look about you, and it failed miserably, and you ended up on the ground bleeding.
Okay. Yeah.
But you still sought to address the challenge by finding out stuff. So yeah, give yourself 2 ticks. And then Cola the Hunter. Mark has an aid memoir at the end of the session. Did you step into the unknown first?
There wasn't any unknown.
It didn't really crop up this time, did it?
Yeah.
It came to you.
Yeah, it came to us. Like, if we want us to do this today, actually, we could say that Cola wanting to charge to attack the faith first could be stepping into the unknown first.
Yes, I think that's fair, because that was your inclination. So yeah, give yourself 1 for that. And I think the challenge with cunning was seeking the higher ground, and then keeping your distance from those raiders. Because I think, that was a cunning solution. I was expecting them to ride you all down, and yet they were picking them up from the rooftops. So have 2 ticks. When you mark the 6th one, clear it, and you'll get an advance. You might want to just think about that. There's a range of them down the bottom in row 77. So you might want to just check out the advances down there, the improvements, when the time comes. Anything else before I say goodbye to the internet and stop the recording? Oh, let's do stars and wishes. Let me start this time with I'm going to go right to left again. So Dominic, any stars, any wishes?
Yes. So my star, like the way we introduced and basically also finished Erdu's story arc was really, really lovely. Like from that scared girl to basically the person who saved the economic foundation of her village. And also I really liked how organically the story just went from one village to the next. That was really, really cool. And I can't think of any particular wishes. No, I can't.
Okay. Well, if something occurs to you, bung it in the Google chat, so we can pick it up next time. Okay, moving along. Pavel, any stars, any wishes?
I really like how the entire session spiraled out of control. From me,
yeah, I thank you for that.
Test this mechanic to facing the shadow, the darkness. Yeah, I really like how they build it up, and now we are in this village that came out from this encounter. Yes, we traveled to where the raiders came from to help them.
Yeah, and my star to you, Dominic, for saying, oh, couldn't it be Stenholm? Because I was thinking, oh, I've said Stenholm's just round the corner. We are traveling further away, but we just move where Tarham was. That's fine. Yeah. Any wishes Pavel.
Any wishes? I wish that this time we managed to explore one of those locations that we created.
Yeah, I mean,
That is
although
true.
technically this is a no prep, low prep game, I had given some thought to those locations, you know. Yeah, we need to. Yeah, I'll come to that in my wish. Anything else in terms of wishes?
I sort of wish our enemies to have like less defenses, because if every rider separately has like 3 defenses, the horse, shield, and the spear, it's like lots of
Yeah, it is.
dice
That's a good
rolls.
point.
I
Yeah,
think we managed to like just scare like one of them and then capture the other,
yeah.
and that's
Um,
it.
yeah, that's fair. I think I should have probably run them as a group.
Something like this.
Yeah, yeah, and the defense is strength in numbers. Yeah, I think you're right.
But then again, I'm thinking like they are on horseback and they are armed. Like they are like they are basically tanks for that time. And I find it totally like acceptable that 4 of them caused so much trouble, and we did beat them in the end.
You did.
But
You drove them away.
with our brains, not with our brawn.
Yeah.
And
Well,
that
I
makes
don't know.
perfect-
You knocked a horse over, so let's not disrespect brawn.
But that being said,
This skeletal man, this kind of thin.
That being said, it makes perfect sense how that encounter went. I didn't feel they were too strong. I would have expected them to be strong, being that they are armed to the teeth. And
Yeah, I suppose that from as I replay, that then ate up rather more. You know, as an entanglement, that turned into a big deal, and
Yeah.
maybe an entanglement shouldn't be that big a deal.
Yes,
is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's what I thought, that it's like random encounter with like 4 Uber tanks, quite a lot for like one thing. And also, I don't know, in my mind they were like light raiders rather than heavy Bretonnian, rather than heavy Teutonic knights with like a full plate armor. I just envisioned them like just a dude on a horse with a spear, and
yeah, no, I think there's something in that, and I think there's a bit of my judgment at play there.
Yeah,
so no, I take that one. Dom, any stars, any wishes?
So for starts, first we have to be just how quickly things went south in this session. After that was a lot of fun. Let's say others, I enjoyed to basically echo what Dominic and I enjoyed the quick switch from Tarham to Stenholm, and how we basically connected the 2 locations. As it's just not, okay, we're done with this location, what's over there? It's like, oh no, we're moving in a clear direction based on what we've learned about what we experienced in the current scenario. So enjoyed that. Enjoyed seeing Willock just back and slap a horse to the ground.
Yeah. What about wishes for next time?
Yeah, for the wishes, interesting to see into seeing how this plays out. Like, because we did leave like the raiders alive, like we didn't kill anyone. All of them are alive, even if one of them does have like an injured arm, due to Cora's arrow. Like, I kind of want to maybe see if that's gonna come up. Like, if those raiders are in the village, or even if they're not, if someone's going to recognize us and be like, didn't the raiders who went there say something about these 3 guys?
Yeah.
And they look suspiciously similar to these 3.
Yeah, I have to say that one of my wishes is that as well as the organic development of the village, I think the logical extension of that is that those surviving raiders are going to turn up at some point.
I imagined the entire time that we have the one that we captured on our like 1 pack mule.
Oh no, I don't think I want to get into carrying people about. I think he's recovering in the other village, and he will be forced to work there. I mean, we don't want to get stuck into the detail of Dark Age slave culture, but the likelihood is that captives would be just integrated into the whatever warband or village had taken them. So I'd rather not have him dragging around, if I'm honest, because I think that's a complication that might be difficult to give you a blank sheet. Because
I just
so no, go on.
Meant that as a way to justify the one favor we have with Stenholm, that we just like drop him off.
Ah, I see what you mean. Yeah, well, I suppose I'm assuming that the survivors will come back,
Mhm.
and that as part of that,
Mhm.
it will become clear that you didn't slaughter them all, and then you get to play that favor,
Oh, sure.
that debt. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
And my star to all of you is your patience while I tweak the odd rule in play.
Yeah.
You know, the people who've played this game a lot say it's never the same. You know, it changes every week.
Sure.
So no, that was helpful. And I do need, my other wish is to do a bit of thinking about that shade track, because it did go south, and it was quite fun that it went south, but it went south awfully quickly. And I don't know how quite to make it not quite as quick, but I'll give that a bit of thought between now. And thank you for adding slavery to the lines.
I want to add another star that you mentioned it. Is I did find quite amusing when you're going through like the leaving part and you're just going, oh no, wait, that's stupid.
Yeah, that's a stupid rule. Why did I write that rule? Who needs that rule? It's knowing when to cut a rule. So no, that was great. Thanks, folks. I had a good time, and
Yeah,
I
me
thought
too.
it did go south, but I think I'd like the next one to go south a little less quickly.
Looking forward to the Kickstarter.
Well, yeah.
Maybe
Anyway,
to
fingers
help
crossed.
perhaps to help the shade. Like I know that a lot of art like probably the apocalypse games like have the whole like luck or the whatever the game has got a meta currency where you can like just choose to reload like a failure if you want.
Mhm.
So I'm not sure if adding that would be maybe too much.
Yeah,
Instead
I
of
mean,
anything else, but that could be a way to help like mitigate the shade, because if you have a failure, then people will be like, do we want to reload that? And if they reload that and it turns not into a failure, then
I tell you
that's
what, yeah, I think
going down the
that
shade.
given that there is the help yourself move, which gives you a chance to improve, and there's also help another hero, I think that rather than marking shade when you roll the 6-, if the final result is 6-, because then you've got a chance, in effect, you're burning debt, or you're accumulating debt in order to get away from the failure. Anyway, I'll give that a bit of thought between now and next week. You may well find the rules have changed again. Anyway, I'm going to stop the recording.